I saw pensive, very pensive.
No, I think he's he's lurking.
Do you have an Orlando Magic jacket on?
I do. Shout out to Dante Marcatelli and the Orlando Magic family for getting this for me. Steve Griffin sent out a beacon to them and said, you know, RJ talks about the Magic on the show. Get him something nice.
Griffin takes care of the peeps. He takes care of the peeps. He's good at taking care of the peeps. He really is.
Yeah.
I mean,
without a doubt.
He's good. So, okay, all right. Well, there you go. I'm in a good mood.
I am too.
I'm in a good mood. It's Christmas season.
Yeah.
I've watched 4 Hallmark movies. Here's the coolest thing. They're great suspense.
Yeah.
You never know how they're going to end.
Right.
I mean, I am on the edge of my seat. But the coolest thing, I must have gotten in a good run here because they wind up together every time.
Do they really?
It's just streaky. You know,
Yeah.
You never know the kind of streak.
No $1 Million Baby endings in here?
No, the worst movie of all time. The worst movie ever made, by the way.
Yes.
I'm even a little bit angry at you for bringing it up.
It's a war crime as a movie.
Did you see $1 Million Baby, RJ?
This is a Hallmark movie?
No.
With Hilary Swank. Did you ever see the movie?
I never saw it.
Have you heard of it? Okay. It's the worst movie ever filmed. It's Clint Eastwood, who's one of the greatest of all time. Should have never been allowed to do another movie.
Yes.
It was so depressed. I've told this story before, and it's 100% true. Suzanne and I went to see it. It was so depressing. We walked out of the theater, never left the premises, went back in and watched Kicking and Screaming with Will Ferrell just to get the sadness out.
That's a great idea.
We really did.
Yeah, because
I'm not making that up. We walked right back in and watched Kicking and Screaming.
I saw $1 Million Baby in the theater as well, and could not have been more disappointed with the ending of a movie.
And depressed forever.
Yes.
And
I've seen 7.
Right. And 7, by the way, is depressing. It's the second worst movie of all time. As depressing as 7 was, $1 Million Baby was worse.
Yes.
It was worse.
It was.
Yeah, so all right, well, good. So but anyway, now that you've depressed me, I'm going to bounce out of it.
Yes.
I'm in a good mood. A lot of things to talk about today. Jags and Jets, I got a thought or two about that. I love the throwbacks. I know they're officially called the Prowlers. But I love the throwback.
Yeah, I
really like them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I wonder if they'll ever just. I know everyone says go back to them full time. I don't. There's NFL rules, and you can only change it after a certain amount of years. And I don't know if we're up on one of those years. But wouldn't it be great if they just said, "This is what we're doing"?
I think so. I think it'd be very well received.
I do too.
Yeah. So I think it would make a lot of sense. Of course, it'll just depend on what Ben Johnson wants to do.
You and your Ben Johnson. But I would do this. And I would get rid of the black pants. I get rid of the teal pants. When this team, now these are the 1999s, which apparently are different than the 96s. I don't know if I'm got good enough eye to tell that, but I know the early uniforms had teal jerseys at home, white jerseys on the road. They had 3 color numerals because they had the gold in there too, and they never wore black on the road. They didn't. The black pants on the road came. When I think of the black pants on the road, I think of Del Rio and Henderson and Stroud. That's what Maurice Jones-Drew. When I think, don't you? When I think of white jerseys and black pants, when that first started, I think of Del Rio, Stroud and Henderson, and MJD and David Garrard. That's what I think of. When I think of teal and white, I think of Brunell and Baselli and Jimmy Smith and Fred. So for me, I would, and I like both those incarnations of Jaguar teams were very good. But that teal and white on the road. Teal and white at home, throwbacks, gold trim, let's go. Can you get it done? Do you have any pull?
I have no pull, but I will do my best to get it done.
Okay, so that's what I was saying. But anyway,
the people want it. That always is the biggest thing.
By the way, I will say
the people want it.
I will say this: the people really do want it. You know, the funny thing about that is, social media always has dissenting opinions. I like left. Well, you're stupid. I think right's better. I like red. Well, you're stupid. I think green's better. I mean, that's what social media is people to give you their opinion so someone else can come and troll them and tell them how stupid their opinion is. I mean, that's just, and people love to go, and also people love to go on social media and tell you how many things they hate, right? Let's fire the coach. We hate this guy. We hate that guy. Why do we do this? Why? But if you noticed, there's no dissenting opinions on those throwbacks. None. I'm serious about that.
Yeah.
Now, there's nobody, now someone may do it now just to contradict me, but the truth is there's no contradictory opinion. Nobody says, I don't like them. Have you seen?
And it's across all demographics of the fan base.
Correct.
It's the young generation. It's the original generation. So it'd be great if they did that.
Yeah.
But it will be fun seeing them on Sunday against the Jets.
Yeah. So
hopefully that's not the only highlight of the game.
Yeah. Well, and if they win, they'll go 2-0. Maybe that should be 2-0 in the uni. So, but I'm looking forward to the game. We talked a lot about the game yesterday about the fact that obviously Aaron Rodgers comes in here. I didn't realize. Did you realize he had not had a 300-yard game in like 30-some games?
It's astonishing.
Until he threw for over 300 against the Dolphins last week, but it's been like over 30 games.
Yeah, he obviously he's in decline. He's a first ballot Hall of Fame talent. We
Without
talked about him yesterday. I mean, that's a given as a 4-time MVP. But he's just not the same guy. He's still, I think, above average. But yeah, I mean, he's 41, and the decline is certainly begun.
You said it perfectly yesterday. When the Hall of Fame committee gets together 5 years after he's done, all right, let's go to Bob from the Milwaukee Journal. Bob, I've got Aaron Rodgers. Sit down, Bob. We're good.
Right.
That you described it perfectly. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Let's not waste our time.
Right.
We're good.
Yeah.
So that's it. Well said. We'll talk a little bit about that. The Florida Gator and the SEC football schedule's out. Don't like it. I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't like it.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like it. I'm gonna whine about it. So that's coming up in a bit. So some whining's coming up. Greg McGarity stops by today. Our final Gator Bowl college football report. I look forward to hearing Greg talk about Ole Miss and Duke. I know he's excited about his game, and he should be. And I'm going to talk a lot about Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick, I got a lot of thoughts about Belichick. Mike Lombardi going with him. That's a really fascinating story on so many fronts. I'm going to lead the show with it because there's just so many arms to that story. So many tentacles to it. That how did it happen? And apparently there's a fantastic story online I haven't read yet that takes you through the chronology. Did you read it?
I have not read it yet. But yes, I've heard the same thing, that it's very good.
Yeah, so we'll talk about how it happened, why he's there, and what the offshoot will be. What will the result be? You've got an idea what you think the result will be. I want you to weigh in, and then I'll certainly talk about that too. Something else I'm going to make a point to mention. Have you noticed far fewer bowl opt-outs?
Oh, I mean, have we even seen a bowl opt-out yet? I don't know that I've heard of a single player that said, I'm not playing in the – I mean, we've seen players transfer.
That's different.
Yeah.
If you announce that you're going to the portal.
Right.
But Tulane even has a guy, the quarterback for Tulane, the Mensa, the starting quarterback, is transferring to Duke. He's already said that. The backup quarterback, Ty, whatever his name is. Ty Thompson, is transferring out. He's going to the portal, but he's going to play in the game first.
Right. Which is what Emory Jones did the last time Florida was in the Gasparilla Bowl. He played in the game, but he'd already said, I'm transferring after.
Yeah, so there's more and more guys that are willing to play in the game. So
but to your point, like these first-round picks, these quarterbacks, it seems like for right now, the in vogue thing is to play in the game. And who knows, maybe some of that's tied to their NIL. Yeah. Maybe if they don't play in the bowl game, it's in their deal that they forfeit that month's payment.
And that could be good for
which for some of these guys that could be $50,000 or more. So maybe that's got something to do with it. But I think it's more just wanting to finish the year strong and not having the fear of injury that some of the previous generations before NIL.
Right.
Because before NIL, these guys were just getting the $50, $100 handshake from a booster. And so, by the time you got to your bowl game and now you're looking at NFL riches, probably, it's easier to say, I'm not going to play in the bowl game. But now these guys that are they're electing to play in the bowl game, well, they're millionaires already. Right. I mean, if they're getting ready to be first-round picks, like Cam Ward's a millionaire. Shedeur Sanders is a multi-millionaire.
Correct.
So, it probably makes it a little easier to to not take on that financial risk and play.
Great point all the way around. And both your points. One, do you contractually have to play in it to make your NIL money? Two, even if something happens, you got some money to make. Those are both really good points. But I like the result.
I do too.
I like the result.
This is one where it actually benefits the fan.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. So a lot of that coming up today. So we'll talk about the schedule a little bit. I want to get to the Belichick thing a little bit. We'll talk some Jags and Jets, although we talked a great deal about it yesterday. We'll talk more about that. What can become in these last 4 weeks of Brian Thomas Jr.? What we talked about everybody else, but that's the guy now. What now that we've really seen it up close and personal, doesn't get the ball a lot for the first 2.5 quarters, then gets it a lot and the team wins the game. So we'll talk about that coming up. So I got all kind of fun stuff. I'm in a good mood. Hallmark movie. I'm going to try and watch 3 or 4 tonight, I think. Hopefully I'm on a good run. Do you go see Christmas lights? Do y'all drive around and see Christmas lights?
Love Christmas lights.
Is Gervin the go-to now where everybody goes? Gervin's kind of the go-to. Right?
Yeah, I think that's a great one. There's a place, there's a gentleman that does this wonderful
in Mandarin.
Yeah. That's incredible.
Like the Briarwood area. What's the road?
It's Beauclair.
Beauclair Road.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
It's fantastic.
It's one house.
It's one house, but it might as well be a complex.
Yeah.
So
you're in that area a lot.
Yeah, my mom lives right next
across
to
the
him.
street,
So yeah, it's that one's spectacular. But yeah, I'll give our neighborhood a lot of credit. When I walk the dogs at night.
Yeah.
I mean
I like Christmas lights.
Yeah, the lights are spectacular. It really adds a lot of enjoyment to the walk. So
Do you drink hot chocolate when you go to watch Christmas lights?
well, I think that's a.
It's a law.
It's
like a federal law.
Yeah,
You got to. I love Christmas. I'm just telling. I love Christmas.
Christmas is
I'm all
wonderful.
Christmassy right now. That's what I am.
Yeah,
I'm all Christmassy.
Yeah, I am too. We're gonna actually give you a little spoiler here, but for our music and headlines,
Yeah.
Christmas song.
It's Christmassy. Love Christmassy.
Yeah.
See, you made me. I was already in a good mood. You tried to bring me down with $1 Million Baby, then you bounced back with Christmassy. So there's all that. When we come back, I want to kick off the program. And don't forget, Greg McGarity stops by in about 20 minutes. I want to talk about the whole Bill Belichick to North Carolina thing. Got a lot of thoughts on that. That's how we'll start the program. Glad you're with us on a Stanley Pools Thursday. It's 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show. From the Harrell and Harrell studio, don't settle for less than you deserve.
Jags head coach Doug Peterson tells you what you need to know about Sunday's game.
They believe in themselves. They believe in his team.
Fridays at 4:05 on the Frangie Show. Brought to you by Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors on 1010XL.
We're H-A-P-P-Y, H-A-P-P-Y, because happy Honda days are here. Everything is bigger. Bigger selection, bigger discounts, bigger trade-in values. Honda, quality, value, safety. Don't miss happy Honda days going on now at your local Honda dealer.
Hey, I'm Ben Kay, owner of Gotham City Limit, your local comic shop. Here to let you know we're doing 20% off the entire store, now through Christmas. So unleash your gift-giving spirit, let your passion transmit. Do what we do and take it to the limit. Visit GothamCityLimit.com for more information.
Jingle bells, plumbing's gone astray. A burst pipe, no hot water clogged drain on Christmas Day. That's no holiday. Call Duck Duck Rooter. We're faster than Santa's sleigh.
904-862-6769 or duckduckrooter.com.
Truck drivers. Without them, our economy would stop. They're constantly racing against time, struggling against exhaustion, and being put under enormous pressure from their bosses, the big trucking companies. This can be a major reason for an accident. Discovering who's at fault can be difficult. We can help. Put our big truck experience to work for you. Call Farah and Farah, Jacksonville.
Start your Sunday off with a cup of Joe and some sports medicine intel. This is Joe C. inviting you to join me and Dr. George Bari for Breaking Bones every Sunday morning at 7:30. And if you miss an episode, just look for Breaking Bones wherever you listen to podcasts.
If you need an insurance agent, I'll recommend the best guy in town, State Farm agent Craig Dewhurst. Call him at 940-9740. Really good guy, really good agent. Life insurance, homeowners, automotive, you name it, he'll handle it for you. Tell him what you need. He'll assess your whole situation. What kind of coverage do you need? How much coverage? What should your deductible be? What do you make and how does it fit your cost and your rates? You will love dealing with Craig. What a nice guy he is and how he'll help you get the right answers. The best in the business. Craig Dewhurst from State Farm, 940-9740.
Prosser here for Lifetime Flooring. You've heard us rave about Lifetime Enclosures. Now let's talk about Lifetime Flooring. I can tell you firsthand, the product, services, best in Jacksonville. As you know, updating your floors is one of the most dramatic changes you can make to your home. Call the experts at Lifetime Flooring now and ask about their buy one room, get one room free promotion through Christmas. 0% financing available to meet any budget. Visit their beautiful showroom just off Phillips Highway. And as always, tell them Prosser sent you.
I'm Clayton Bromberg, the president of Underwoods. Every year we have gentlemen come in with the same problem. They just don't know what to buy their wife for Christmas. Well, one thing we can start off telling them is they've come to the right place because at Underwoods it's been our business since 1928 to keep in our stores what ladies want to own. We have a professional credentialed staff that'll treat you the way you expect to be treated, and they can really help solve your problem. We have North Florida's finest collection of diamond jewelry, an extensive collection of pearls. You might be interested in seeing some of the hot new designer jewelry pieces from names like David Yurman, John Hardy, or Roberto Coin. If it's a watch you want, we carry Rolex and other watches that are considered the best. And the one thing you'll love and she'll recognize is the hand-wrapped silver package with a satin ribbon our gifts come in. So make this a Christmas to remember at Underwoods in San Marco, Avondale, or the shops of Ponte Vedra.
I got the perfect holiday gift for you. At the Blue Crab House, you spend $50, you get a $65 gift card. $50 and you get $65. Bam, the pressure's off. Located right off of San Jose on Jewington Creek Road, open every day until 9, except for Monday. Get rid of the stress of holiday shopping right now at the Blue Crab House. Spend $50 and get a $65 gift card. Only at the Blue Crab House.
This is Mark Nato. My sons and I have seen the doctors and PAs at Southeast Ortho for everything from lumbar spine stress to elbow tendonitis. Southeast has always been there, been truthful, and always been on point. Everything they say happens. We can't thank them enough for what they've done and the great care that they have taken of our sons.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Hey, Aiken here for Prize Picks. Download the app today and use code JAX, J-A-X, to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's promo code JAX to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, man. Run your game.
Attention men and women. If you would like to get your hair back, then you need to listen to some of our clients. John in Orange Park.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS. Find out how to grow your hair back with a free hair and scalp examination. Mike from Bay Meadows.
I finally found the most experienced company who could restore my hair. Now I have hair where I had none before.
Results guaranteed. Diane from Ponte Vedra.
Now I have what lotions couldn't give me. Thick, beautiful hair.
Find out why you're losing your hair and how to grow your hair back. Call 904-777-IHRS for a limited time free hair and scalp examination.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
Thank you, IHRS.
Thanks, IHRS, for giving me my hair back.
Hurry and receive a free hair and scalp examination and get 2 weeks of laser treatments for free. Call IHRS at 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Hair4me.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Stanley Pools Thursday on The Frangie Show. Since 1988, the experts in pools, pavers, screen enclosures, it's Stanley Pools.
This video wasn't any good in your video days, was it?
Oh, yeah.
Is it any good?
Yeah, it's good. Very good. Bill Collins.
And Philip Bailey.
Philip Bailey.
Love this song.
Yeah, it's a great song.
Again, my good mood is continuing.
Yeah.
It is, the goodness of my mood is continuing along. All right, so Bill Belichick goes to North Carolina. You still think he'll be in play for an NFL job this year?
Yeah, I don't think he'll ever coach a game for North Carolina.
I shame on him if you're right. Shame on him if he took that job and isn't going to coach there. So, but I think there's no chance that happens. I don't think I think if these agents know, the agents talk to these owners. If anybody had any interest in him, at least a tepid interest, he got one interview last year. I think if anybody had any interest in him, he would know that. So I definitely think he's going to coach North Carolina. But I got a lot of thoughts about it. First of all, I don't know how it's going to go. It's either going to go incredibly well or it's going to be an unmitigated disaster. Most people expect the latter, I would think.
That's what I'm expecting if it actually ends up happening.
Okay. And so, but I do think this. If it works, let's say, North Carolina has always been the underachieving football program. They have always underachieved. Okay. You would always. There's too much good in it. It's a great academic school. It's a great part of the country. I know it's basketball country, but you would have thought somewhere along the line there would be a run in North Carolina football. There's never been one. Even in an era where more parity than ever, and there is more parity. You think, well, the same teams are elite every year. Yeah, but there's more parity in teams 6 through 35 than there's ever been.
Look at Indiana.
Yeah, well, exactly right. Exactly. So North Carolina's never had that. Never. They and you always wonder why. And I haven't been there a lot. I've never called a game there, but I went there when Larry Fedor's my buddy. When he got the job, I spent some time there. And it feels like they ought to be better. It feels like somehow they ought to find something there.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't won a middling league since 1980.
Yeah, is that right? Since
That was their last ACC title.
Wow, I didn't realize that. But
I mean, that's a decade plus before Florida State joins the league.
And let me tell you a point you made that rung true with me about 2 months ago. You said something, and it was right. We're talking about FSU's schedule, and they got to play Miami, and they got to play this team, and boy, this is before we knew how bad they were going to be. We knew they were struggling early on, and we said, well, this team, and I got to North Carolina, and you here's what you said. You said, well, they'll have athletes. That was your answer,
right?
And that before we knew how good they'd be and how bad FSU'd be, you go, we know they'll have they'll have that. You said something different about all the teams. When we got to North Carolina, you said, well, they'll have athletes. Well, that's 100% true. They've had some really good players. You look at some NFL rosters. There's some really good players over the years from North Carolina, like a lot of them. Not just Lawrence Taylor, a great player. I mean, there's been a lot of good players from North Carolina, but they've never done anything. Even Mac Brown first run through there had a 10-win season, but nothing ever sustainable. Well, what if this guy wins there? What if he goes and wins the ACC? I mean, with all due respect to Miami and Clemson, it's not exactly murderer's row league. If anybody catches fire in that league,
he doesn't even play FSU in Miami next year,
right? But if anybody catches fire in that league, they've got to beat Clemson and maybe FSU if FSU comes back, and that's about it. Now, Miami this year was the best team they've had in a long time, but again, a lot of those ACC teams almost beat them, and 2 of them did. So the point is, it's not like it doesn't matter how good a job Belichick does, he's still got to go up against Alabama, Auburn, Tennessee, blah blah blah, Michigan State, Penn State, Michigan. If you get it going in this, if he's right, here's one of the reasons I think you take the job. If you get it right, you can dominate. I think so. What if it does work? What if he goes in there? I got to believe he's inheriting some players. To your point, there's always some pretty good athletes there, right?
Yeah.
So.
And Mac Brown was a good recruiter.
Yeah. What if he goes in there and what if he hangs in 11-1 gets a good portal quarterback, goes 11-1 in the first year, with Mike Lombardi, his NFL GM being his now college GM, with his NFL mindset now being a college mindset. Does it open the door for a host of other NFL coaches, former NFL coaches, old school guys? I mean, this could be groundbreaking if it worked.
Yeah, I would agree if it works. I don't think it will. But,
I'm not sure I do either.
Yeah, but I'll go along with the hypothetical of why it could work in spectacular fashion. He's going to outcoach everybody he sees. I mean, Bill Belichick versus Mario Cristobal is Tyson versus Spinks. I mean, and that's just an example. I mean, Bill Belichick versus Dabo Swinney is child's play for him.
He's a better sideline coach than most of the coaches in college football. That's your point. And there's no,
by a mile.
Yeah,
and particularly in what I would say in the ACC is a weak crop of head coaches.
I agree with that.
Mike Norvell is not a good head coach. Mario Cristobal had a team that absolutely should have been in the playoff, should have competed for the ACC championship, and in that game, couldn't do it.
You don't get the sense the SEC, Big Ten, or the NFL is going to raid the ACC of its head coaches. That's your point. I agree.
Correct.
With that, yeah.
And so that right there gives you a certainly game day advantage, and then it just comes down to can they get the players? But if the talent, but what Belichick has to do is he has to at least make sure his talent is on par with the Miami's, Florida State's, Clemson's. His talent, there's no reason his talent shouldn't be on par with Wake Forest and Duke and Syracuse and the middling bottom feeder teams in that league. But if he can just keep North Carolina's talent equal with the others, then he's got a good chance to win a bunch of games, because I do think that he's going to see things on tape that they're not going to see with him, in particularly on the defensive side. So from that standpoint, I think it could work. But again, I don't think he's ever going to coach a game there. I mean, I think that he'll be there for 5 weeks, and then an NFL owner will call that loses the Ben Johnson sweepstakes because there's going to be 8 openings, and all 8 of these owners are going to think they're the ones that's going to hire Ben Johnson. Well, only one of them will be, and that's if Ben Johnson even decides to leave Detroit, but I bet you he will, having stayed last year. So you're going to have owners that are like, oh, we didn't get Ben Johnson. What are we going to do now? And when Drew Petzig is there and Liam Cohen are the first 2 guys out of the, advisor's mouth, then you're going to see, I think you're going to see some interest in Belichick. I think he did this for leverage, and I think that it's the perfect scenario because he can be there 5 weeks and then leave North Carolina basically high and dry, and they have no choice but to promote his son, Steve, to be head coach when he leaves them on January 15th. And, I think in looking at it, this is what I would say. NFL owners certainly may not know football, but they know their lives, they know their time frames, and they set those time frames. These are billionaires, and they're not going to adjust their timeline for a football coach. They have, whether we like it or not, there is an elitism there of, do you know who I am? No, I don't get, people don't give me timelines. I give timelines. And so this whole 72-hour window of, well, I'm talking to North Carolina, you guys better figure this out, make your moves because I'll go to North Carolina. I don't think these owners care because they know they can circle back to him in January if they decide to move on from their head coach on their timeline when they make the decision, when they're prepared to make the decision. Then yes, I absolutely think that an owner that misses out on Ben Johnson or misses out on whoever is his primary candidate. Again, there's going to be 8 open jobs. There's 3 now. You're probably going to see 5 more come open. That's normal standard operating procedure for an NFL offseason. So it's not a deep group of candidates. I mean, you've got Ben Johnson, Mike Vrabel, and then Aaron Glenn, okay? But it's not super deep. And so I absolutely think that there is a chance that an NFL owner, an NFL owner's not going to care that he just took the North Carolina job. He's going to call Belichick and say, hey, do you want this job? And I'd be shocked if Belichick doesn't jump at the chance to be an NFL head coach.
Of all your crazy predictions, which I love, by the way, I would be more shocked at this one than any that's ever been made. I would be shocked if Bill Belichick took the North Carolina job right around the time of portal time and all that, and left for any reason in 5 weeks. And by the way, if he did, there's no chance Steve Belichick gets a job. They would usher the North Carolina state troopers would usher him out of the state.
Yeah.
And anybody named Belichick, maybe anybody whose name starts with a B, they would run them all out of the state of North Carolina. So I don't think that there's any chance that happens. But we'll see. We'll know soon enough.
So there's a tweet here by Ian Rappaport speaking of Bill Belichick, and I guess he was asked if he would leave for the NFL if he had success at North Carolina, and he says, quote, I didn't come here to leave.
Yeah, although that's got to be his answer. But I hear you. But I can't imagine that he would do that. But let's just say just for the time being that he doesn't. Okay,
Right.
So because your point about him, he's a really good sideline coach. I mean, that's a no duh. I know that is, but my point is, he's gonna fake a punt at the right time. He's gonna find a blitz package. To Hays' point, he's gonna find a blitz package that the offensive coordinator at Wake Forest has never seen. That's your point. He's going to. There's going to be a new angle to a jet sweep that the defensive coordinator at Syracuse has never seen. It has to be. He's 72 years old, and he's probably spent 50 years of his life as a football coach and a mega successful one. That's kind of so that part's going to be in play. And I also don't buy the whole he won't relate to players. That's a bunch of crap. You think every college coach is 28? No, there's a lot of college coaches who are in their 50s and 60s. It's not about relating to players. If a player trusts that you know what you're talking about, you relate to them. So recruiting's a different conversation. Relating to high school coach and mom and dad is different. But as far as relating to players, every player I've ever known at any sport, if they think a coach knows what he's talking about and they trust his intelligence, it doesn't matter how old he is. It doesn't matter how grumpy he is. I mean, Nick Saban was 70 years old. Was he not connected with players? Of course he was. You know why? Because they knew he knew what he was talking about. They knew he could get him to the NFL. They knew he could get him to an SEC championship game and a national championship game. So when a player trusts a coach, it doesn't matter how old or how grizzly. None of that matters. So don't believe for a minute the whole not connecting. Recruiting's a whole different thing. You got to be able to find players. And I think one of the reasons he took the job, Hays, is because now recruiting's different. Now you bring in a general manager. Now you recruit as much in the portal. You recruit other teams as much as you do high school kids. That's all changed. So I think
I would imagine they're going to be a very heavy portal organization.
You would think a lot of free agents. I mean, the NFL and college football's never been more similar. Never been more similar. That now all of a sudden the portal is free agency. The recruiting is the draft. Your staff, you now have college football forever never had a personnel staff. You know what the personnel staff was? It was the tight ends coach. Your chief recruiter was the tight ends coach. That was your personnel staff. Well, now there's, like the pro teams, there's a personnel staff and then there's a coaching staff, and they're different. And that's why a guy like Bill Belichick. But if he makes it in, couldn't you see a litany of, if it works, a litany of other coaches that people at least try it? I can see a lot of people trying it. If he hadn't have had the DUI stuff, Del Rio would be the first guy that came to mind for me. Now again, he's got off-field stuff, but he's a guy that's been in the NFL forever, but it's not coaching.
Somebody like Pete Carroll.
Pete Carroll's a perfect example.
I mean, who actually has obviously has a great college resume.
Yeah, but Pete Carroll's perfect. But I think if we think through it, there's a lot of former NFL coaches who are not doing it now. Maybe they're not all 72. Maybe some of them are 55 or 60. But I think you could see this whole list of, if Sean Payton wasn't back in the NFL, he'd be the perfect guy. Okay, I think there's a lot of guys like that didn't make it. If Mike McCarthy gets fired this year, which he's probably going to, I could see him doing it. I could see older, veteran, hard-nosed coaches who were, to your point, Hays, really good sideline coaches who really, with all due respect to Fran Brown at Syracuse, he's not going to match wits with Sean Payton. Not ever. And so if it works, my point is it could work in volume. I guess. I mean, can you imagine? What if Mike Tomlin wanted to do it?
He'd be sensational.
He'd be fantastic. He'd relate to everybody, wouldn't he? What if John Harbaugh wanted to do it? So if this works, and I'm picking guys who probably aren't leaving, but Mike McCarthy is going to be available. Sean Payton 2 years ago was available. So don't you see that if it works, there's a whole new list of candidates that never would have been a college candidate before?
Yeah, I think Belichick will be a good litmus test for it, because I still think there's going to be things with this job he's not going to like.
No question.
There's certainly things that he is still going to have to do. I mean, North Carolina is paying him $10 million a year. I'm sorry, but Bill, you're going to have to go to cocktail parties, and you're going to have to schmooze boosters.
No question.
And he is not going to like that, but there's no way around it. You can't hide him from your people when you've made this kind of investment in him. You can't, while I think they'll be heavily portal based, you can't just ignore the recruiting component. So he's going to have to find, every coach, every great recruiter always says the same thing. There's a key to every kid. You've got to find out who's the decision maker for that kid. Is it the mom? Is it the dad? Is it the coach? Is it sometimes it's the AAU guy. Now it could be the agent, right. But it's rarely the kid.
Right.
So part of recruiting is figuring out who actually is going to be making this decision for this young man. And so once you figure that out, then you've got to obviously recruit that person as well. And you've got to do this on a board of 200 kids to try and sign a 25-man class of great talent. It's, again, I think he's going to do this for 5 weeks, realize he's made a terrible mistake, and I do think he'll get bailed out because I think one NFL owner who misses out on the top guys in this cycle is probably going to say, "What, give Belichick a call and let's gauge his interest."
Yeah, and we'll see. But Mike Vrabel, Bill O'Brien proved it. Bill O'Brien now he had done it before. He was a Penn State coach before he was the Texans coach. But he did a very good job at Boston College. I just think you'll see.
I do think you'll see it, but I still think there are way more complications and irritants at the college level for these guys than there is at the NFL level.
I agree with that.
Where you don't have to recruit at all. You have a salary cap. You offer a free agent. This is what you get. All you got to do in terms of, I write a name on a card and I turn it in night one of the draft and I get this player. There are levels to the college game that I think would be frustrating for most NFL head coaches.
The other thing I see in college is rather than the hot young guy from the MAC or let's go get the hot guy from Southern Miss, they're now going back to the retreads a little bit. Rich Rodriguez.
Yeah.
is back. I mean, North Carolina just tried it with Mac Jones. I mean,
Scott Frost
Mac
at
Brown.
UCF. He's younger, but
the same story though.
Yeah.
So you're seeing, because they're running out of candidates. You can only hire the hot guy from Fresno State so many times, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So it'll be interesting to see the way it goes. All right, let's take a break. Let's keep it on college football. Duke and Ole Miss. My friend Greg McGarrity is here to talk about the Gator Bowl game, which I think is a very good matchup. That's next. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Joe C for Hard Rock Bet, and we're into the second half of football season. You've seen how teams are shaping up. If you haven't already, it's a perfect time to try your first bet at Hard Rock Bet. Perfect example. Earlier this season, a Florida bettor went 16 for 16 picking winners, turned a $15 bet into more than $100,000. Try Hard Rock Bet now and get up to $100 back in bonus bets if your first doesn't win. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Is your AC ready for the holidays? Bold City Heating and Air ensures your AC stays in tip-top shape. We know that a clean AC is a healthy AC. Upgrade yours for just $96 a month and enjoy free duct cleanings with your new system. Plus, ask about our 0% financing options.
Bold City AC. We got the crew. Bold City AC.
Visit boldcityac.com.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Come to Monahan Jewelers' 47th annual holiday sale now with up to 30% off GIA certified diamonds and up to 40% off our entire store. Certified diamonds, gemstones, engagement rings, diamond studs, designer brands. We're not a big box store. We're your local family jeweler with an amazing hand-picked inventory for every budget, and with interest-free financing, enjoy beautiful jewelry with a low monthly payment. Support your local family jeweler this Christmas with up to 40% off our entire inventory. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach, open 7 days a week in December.
A call to arms. Go Army. A battle on the gridiron.
Be Navy. This game is everything. This is the world for us and for them.
1010XL's Army-Navy focus is defended by Superior Fence and Rail, where quality matters.
Budweiser reminds us to drink wiser, like hydrating between beers. It keeps the fun going longer, and it's a commitment to responsibility. Remember, good times are ahead, so no need to overdo it. Know when to say when, and always designate a driver.
My name's Jim. I'm 53 years old. There should be options in life, like ways to lose weight. Medications now feel like the only option. I mean, it sounds like a guarantee. I do have friends who have lost weight with them. I tried holding off. I did other diets, but I was miserable. I'd rather be fat and happy. The problem was I wasn't happy fat. I was about to start the meds, but then I heard of Awaken 180's GLP-1 program. Turned out it does the same thing as the meds without injecting myself for life. It absolutely worked. I dropped 45 pounds. I'm now in maintenance, and I feel better than my friends who are still on the meds. Listen, I barely know what GLP-1 is. What I do know is Awaken 180 worked for me, and I was far from miserable doing it.
Thanks, Jim. You all know our success with Awaken 180, and now with Awaken 180's GLP-1 Balance, you address the root causes of weight issues. Do it naturally, then keep it off. Awaken180weightloss.com.
Frank Frangie here. These days, it's hard to know which companies to trust. But when it comes to banking, I trust South State Bank. South State truly values its customers, and they work hard to create meaningful, lasting relationships. I love going into my local branch. I see the same smiling faces I've seen for years. South State is the largest bank headquartered in Florida, so they're able to offer all the banking services you need. You can trust South State Bank. Banking forward. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
The time to buy an emergency generator is before you need it, not when you're sitting in the dark. Storms happen in a hurry in Florida, so be prepared. Protect your family and property with American Electrical Contracting. Call them today, 737-7770.
Are you a member of the Ran Out of Room Club? Maybe it's a boat, RV, or cars. Maybe it's office space. A luxury storage unit at the Shed is your solution. Opening soon in Atlantic Beach. AC and plumbing available and spots filling fast. Don't join the Ran Out of Time Club. Go to theshedjags.com.
Hey, this is Bert Cannon with the First Coast YMCA. Youth sports at the Y can help nurture your future athlete's potential and experience the joy of being a kid. At the Y, we're providing a safe, clean, and fun environment with basketball, soccer, volleyball, gymnastics, elite skills training, and more. Best of all, participation in Legacy Youth Sports League is free with your family membership. Visit fcymca.org to learn all about youth sports at the Y.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Jaguars rookie wide receiver Brian Thomas Jr. will face one of the NFL's top cornerbacks on Sunday in Jets defensive back Sauce Gardner. BTJ on what stands out about the two-time All-Pro.
Really long, plays hard, plays with great speed. He does a lot of great things, and just him, his motor, really, that's what really stands out to me, the motor.
Jags fans, the JTA Game Day Express is back. Let them do the driving to the Jags-Jets game, with passes starting at just $10 on the MyJTA app. More information at jtafla.com. With your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update, I'm Andrew Gibson.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
The College Football Report is presented each week by the Gator Bowl with Executive Director Greg McGarity. Here's Greg with the Frangie Show crew.
All right, our final stop with Greg McGarity. It's been a fun season. You do a great job. We love having you in here every week. But hey, you got a good game. You got Lane Kiffin. Who doesn't love Lane? I can't wait till the press conferences. You got the Ole Miss and Duke. I know we talked about Florida. You talked about other teams. You're going to have a good game either way. But you got a top 15 team, and I will say this: Ole Miss is one of the most talked about teams in the country. How do you feel about your game?
Well, Ole Miss is the highest ranked team we've had in our game since West Virginia in 07.
Wow. Really?
So
highest ranked team in 17 years.
Yep. So we feel great about that. You know, you've got Duke, who's won their last 5 bowl games. In the last year, 9 wins this year, 8 wins last year, 9 wins the year before. So they're kind of the hot team in the ACC right now, from a team that probably, unless Coach Spurrier was there, had a level of success, and they've had a level of success and play great defense.
Right.
So I know their quarterback is not going to play in the game, but somebody will step up, and if you can play great defense in this game, you've got a chance to win.
And Jackson Dart is playing for Ole Miss, so you get a chance to see a guy that, you know, could be on his way to a fantastic NFL career.
Well, I was so glad to hear that, and really when Coach Kiffin at the press conference was talking about, he hadn't heard of any of his players that are not playing. Same thing with Duke. I know I've just seen one player, maybe 2, that are not choosing not to play in the game. So the scenario that we had when Texas A&M dropped out with 20 or so kids that weren't coming, we're not having to deal with that. And Ole Miss and Duke just left town yesterday. They're advanced teams. They're so excited about where they're staying, where they're practicing, the opportunity to play in an NFL stadium, hopefully great weather. And I think you've got 2 teams that are really motivated to play and try to win this game.
Yeah, and playing a game with no competition. I mean,
absolutely.
It's January 2nd. It's 7:30 at night. It's the football game of the night.
It's the only one there. And Duke has never played in our game in the 80-year history.
I didn't realize that.
And Ole Miss and Duke had never played each other. So we have some newness in the bowl. And like you said, 7:30. We are really, really working hard to get butts in the seats. And while maybe both teams aren't traveling like we hoped they would have, I think it's going to still be a really respectful crowd and something to where we can really be proud of.
Where do the teams practice?
Well, UNF, which we were out there yesterday, their field looks better than the stadium right now. I mean, I know they've had a lot of wear and tear and resodding in the stadium, and they'll make it look great. Nick and his staff do great work. But UNF's at another level because they don't have much activity on their soccer field. And last year it was the best surface I've ever seen a bowl team use at a bowl site. So they do a great job out there.
Shout out to my guy, Corey Levine. Who's
absolutely.
Really good,
Corey did a great job
fantastic.
leading the tour yesterday.
So shout out to Corey if you're listening.
Fernandina Beach High School is the other. And Mike does a phenomenal job there. And so even Notre Dame had commented when they practiced out there, it was a better practice facility than it was when they played in the college football playoff game.
How about that?
So two great places, two great hotels.
Yeah.
And they get to enjoy a lot of downtime, and we don't overschedule them.
Yeah, so that's good time all the way, good stuff all the way around.
Absolutely.
Which is really good stuff. So congratulations on that. I know you are excited about that. How many times has Ole Miss been?
3 times.
Okay, because I can tell you one of the most historic Gator Bowls ever played was Ole Miss Auburn. I don't know if you know this story because you weren't around yet, but Ole Miss played Auburn, 35-28 final. Pat Sullivan versus Archie Manning.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pat Sullivan, the Heisman Trophy winner, versus Archie Manning. And I know you know this story, Greg. I remember this game as a kid. Archie Manning played with a broken arm.
Right.
Did you know that?
No.
Played with a cast on his left arm. Wow. And was unbelievable. Archie Manning, with apologies to Peyton and Eli, people have no idea how good Archie Manning was. He was really good. And so Archie Manning's playing. We didn't go to we weren't able to go to a lot of games when I was a kid. But I can tell you the game back then was blacked out. So you couldn't hear it live because you wanted to protect ticket sales. So you watched that night. My dad and I stayed up and watched that game. It came on like at 11:30 at night. And so we stayed up. My mom goes, "You got to go to bed." No, my dad. But we watched the replay of it that night, and it was one of the most. I think it was 35-28, something like that. That Auburn won. But I mean, Pat Sullivan versus Archie Manning was. You know the story of that.
Yeah, we actually had Archie as one of our featured speakers online with our committee members, due to the fact that he played in this game, and he played with a broken arm, and what were his memories. But his recall was phenomenal. I mean, his recall about how the game developed and things of that nature was unparalleled. So he treated our committee members to 30 minutes of just
I bet it was
time. It was great.
And I'm saying, hey, go find the YouTube video.
Yeah,
he's got a cast.
That's incredible.
He's playing a game with a cast on his whole arm. Cast on his arm. He played the game.
That's amazing. And we with Duke being in the game, an added bonus is Bill Belichick might show up to scout Duke.
Who knows? In this world, who knows what's going to happen?
What did you make of that as a former athletic director and the way the world's going? What did you make of Bill Belichick going to North Carolina?
It is odd. Bubba probably needed to do something would put a spark in his program.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all people are talking about right now. And with his model that he talks about as far as developing kids, the NFL, all these type things, it'll really be interesting to see how he relates to these kids. I think it was a spoof with Brady, Gronkowski, and Edelman about what he would tell recruits.
That's what we laughed at.
It's hilarious. They did a great job. So I don't think that's going to translate. But you know what? It's like kids that used to go play basketball for Bobby Knight. You know what you're getting into. So don't go there and be surprised and stay there for a year and bolt. So I think there'll be a lot of kids that migrate to him like they migrate to primetime out at Colorado. I mean, we'll see, but there's no doubt that the excitement level at UNC and the unpredictability of what's going to happen from now until September 1st is going to be off the chart.
Well, and I'll say this about that, and I give Bubba Cunningham credit. He's the AD at North Carolina that Greg was talking about, and I'll give Rick George credit, the AD at Colorado. They tried something different. You can only go hire the hot coach from Western Michigan or Colorado State or Fresno State so many times, and it might not work. Well, this one, it's something different. I'll give Bubba credit. The same thing when he brought Mac Brown back. Now, it didn't work the way he wanted it to, but it was something different.
And I think if you're out of the game, these coaches are dying to get back on the field, and probably seeing that the NFL interest was, if he didn't get a job that first cycle, I'm not so sure it would have worked out the next time. So this is something new. I'm sure his son, more than likely, is in line to maybe be highly considered to be his successor. I got
to believe that conversation, they've even had that.
Yeah, I just think that makes the most sense there, and that Bill would stay there as sort of a football administrator and looking over the whole program and being able to attract kids and walk into Bill Belichick's office. My God, you have to be impressed.
Before we let you go, let's talk about the 12-team playoff.
Yeah.
Did they get it right? Are you excited about watching it? What do you like about the field? What do you not like about the field?
Well, the cold weather sites at night are going to be brutal at Ohio State. I wish they had to flip that to maybe make those daytime games so the fans and everyone could probably avoid what's going to be just nightmarish weather.
Right.
I think they got it right with SMU. I don't think you could just ignore the 2 losses that Alabama had to a 2-win Oklahoma team, 2 SEC wins, and a 3-win Vandy. You can't overlook that. So Nowadays, you got to be careful when you play those teams that you're expected to win. You better win. If you don't, it's your own fault. And I think that probably their losses trumped their big wins. I wanted to see rewards for playing in a conference championship. And the way SMU came back, regardless, I think SMU should have been in anyway. Because if they thought Alabama was better than SMU in the beginning, why did they have SMU 8 and Alabama 11? I mean, put Alabama at 8 and 11, and you wouldn't have a discussion. So I think they've got to have a level of consistency. And if you're maybe in the top 10 and you're playing in a championship game and you lose, that you should be protected. And I think the 3 and 4 line have to be adjusted. Top 4 seeds ought to get it regardless of how many conferences that includes, because it's not fair.
Agreed.
I mean, you got the 9th and 12th team getting a bye. It makes no sense.
And I think they'll change that.
I do.
I
It's
think
an easy change.
Because I like the automatic qualifier.
Absolutely, no problem there.
But they shouldn't automatically get a seed.
Correct. I agree.
Yeah. Did you have any issue with Indiana? No big wins at all of consequence?
I just think that their ability to run the table, and they didn't lose to anybody they were supposed to lose to. In other words, they won all the games pretty decisively against the teams that they were better than. They just didn't have any bad losses.
There's talk that it's going to change in 26 after 2 years. There's talk that they could stay at 12, talk they could go to 14, which is a silly number for me. If you're going to go to 16. I think if you go ahead and go to 16, now you do include that group of teams that lost one more game than you thought. You had to have a pretty good team. Alabama, Miami, South Carolina, whoever else, Ole Miss, BYU.
Miami.
Yeah. Those teams, 13 through 16 could house those teams, and I think they should be in. So I would like to see 16. Would you or not?
I think you're going to have even more problems.
You
didn't have a lot of problems at 4 and 5. You had, 5 teams battling for 4 spots.
Yeah.
Here you had South Carolina. You had all these teams competing. If you continue down the line, then you're going to have 4-win teams. You're going to have more 4-win teams and more 3-win teams fighting for those coveted spots. So
4-loss teams,
it's going to make it even more difficult to provide separation the bigger the field gets.
Fair point.
In my mind.
Fair point.
How do we get tickets to the Gator Bowl?
TaxSlayerGatorBowl.com. We've got a lot of great seats available. They're not that expensive. End zone seats are $40 and $50, and it's going to be a great time. Come and have a great time with a family.
Yeah.
I just think it's going to be an opportunity to showcase Jacksonville, and we're just hoping we have great weather and the good Lord helps us there.
Yeah, and great. You know what? I hope so too. And again, it's a terrific game. The highest ranked team to play in the Gator Bowl since 2007. That is a cool stat. Go to TaxSlayerGatorBowl.com. Greg, thanks for Hey, it's been fun all year, man. You do a
Thanks,
great job.
guys.
We appreciate that.
I really enjoyed it. It's good to be with you guys.
All right, Greg McGarity, the executive director of the Gator Bowl, and a dear friend of mine for many, many years. We'll take a break. More in a moment. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Spend 2 hours talking teal every day on Jaguars Today. With Mike Dempsey and Fat Tony from the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. 10 to noon weekdays on 1010XL. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Find the best-kept secret in Jax at the Moss Fire Grill. From $5 margaritas to made-from-scratch Southwest cuisine. Find yourself relaxing or celebrating at Jacksonville's first-ever rooftop. Visit Moss Fire Grill in Riverside.
See you on the rooftop.
Got a cracked windshield? Not only is it dangerous, but did you know it's also illegal? Call Baker Glass. Mack and his crew use the best auto glass in the market, and they accept most insurance. Plus, all new windshields come with a full warranty. From cars to trucks to RVs, you can count on Baker Glass to be fast and friendly. Just check out their Google reviews. Come see us at the shop on Casta Avenue, or we can come to you at your home or business.
I'm back with Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
It's tune-up time, and Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars, wants to partner with you for a cool summer season. Tune up your AC unit right now so it's running at peak performance when you need it most. Just call 777-4300 and order a tune-up for just $59. Keep your unit humming at optimal level. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com and take advantage of their savings. Keep cool with Florida Home AC. That's 777-4300.
Our slogan, Know Before You Blow, applies to more than just DUI cases. Hi, I'm attorney Lee Lockett of Lockett Law. Battery charges can result in jail time and criminal convictions too, so know before you blow a gasket and hit a loved one or a stranger. Drug crimes like possession of marijuana and cocaine will land you in cuffs too, so know before you blow. In a boating under the influence case, you also have the option to blow or not to blow. So know your options. Know before you blow. Go to knowbeforeyouBlow.com now. Offices Jacksonville.
Mia O'Brien.
Don't I know you from somewhere?
On Helmets and Heels, noon to 2.
I swear to you, I know her.
Then there's the 1010XL video and social media channels.
I would know her voice anywhere.
All Things Mia is driven by Arlington Toyota.
On 1010XL.
It's holiday season, and Nimnick Chevrolet is here for you. Whether you're making memories on the road or continuing family traditions right here in Jacksonville, you can always count on us because there's nobody but Nimnick. Now, that red tag sales event is back at Nimnick Chevrolet. This month, you can save up to $12,000 off a new Silverado. And unlike most dealerships, Nimnick Chevrolet has the largest inventory on the ground ready for you to explore. And with their extensive selection, you're sure to find the perfect truck at Nimnick. Available now, the all-new Silverado EV, designed to go the distance. The Silverado EV boasts 440 miles of range, more standard range than any competitor. And oh, by the way, ask about 0% financing and $7,500 instant cash savings on EVs. Remember, Nimnick will always give you top dollar for your trade. So if you're looking for a great place to shop over this holiday season, there's only one answer, Nimnick, because there's nobody but Nimnick.
Atlantic Self-Storage, the official storage partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Need to make room to watch football in your home or need a place to park your boat or RV? Store it all at Atlantic Self-Storage. Over 50 locations in Northeast Florida. 24-hour access, all with month-to-month leases. Moving? They can help with supplies. They make storage easy. Go to AtlanticSelfStorage.com or call 877-WE-STORE to find a storage solution near you. Go Jags!
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about being a peacemaker. Friends, so often we can only want to help people who are in our inner circle. But God never had inner circles. The world was his inner circle, and he's depending on us to make a difference and to leave our mark in this life. So go out today receiving his peace and then sharing it with the world.
To hear more inspirational messages by Reverend Dr. Nicholas Lowe, please visit our website at stjohnthedivine.com.
WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Hey gang, Dan Hicken here for America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with more than 10 million active members. It's Prize Picks. First things first, download the app today and use code JAX, that's J-A-X, to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download that app today, use code JAX, $50 after you play your first $5 lineup. How to play? All you got to do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. Like, is Jared Goff going to throw for more than 230 passing yards? Will Saquon Barkley have more than 1 touchdown? Will Travis Kelce have less than 70 receiving yards? You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, which they usually do, I get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. Prize Picks also now offers Venmo for quick and easy deposits and withdrawals. Prize Picks, run your game.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Dempsey, and I just cannot say enough good things about my friends at Pella Windows and Doors. They have the highest quality products, the strongest limited warranties in the industry, and they just flat out look amazing. But don't just take my word for it. Consumer Reports still has Pella rated #1 in all 3 major window categories, so why not go with the best? Call them today or visit the Pella showroom and be sure to ask about the latest hurricane and impact-resistant windows. That's Pella Windows and Doors on Phillips Highway, and tell them Mike sent you.
Kuhn Flowers invites you to join their Spread the Joy gift drive, supporting families here in Florida impacted by the recent hurricanes. They're accepting new and unwrapped toys, gifts, or monetary donations. Visit KuhnFlowers.com to find out more.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update, brought to you by Prize Picks. As both teams prepare for the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl here in Jacksonville between the Duke Blue Devils and the Ole Miss Rebels. The Rebels will have their main weapon, quarterback Jackson Dart. Dart led the SEC in passing yards, total offense completion percentage, and yards per attempt. Ole Miss head coach Lane Kiffin spoke on the opportunity to play in the bowl and is excited for the matchup.
We're extremely excited to come down there, like you said, for a really big matchup. I think Manny's done an unbelievable job in only 1 year there, the way that they played as a team, and then on defense, top 5 in a number of categories and create a lot of chaos on defense by how well they play up front. And in typical wherever Manny's been, they do a great job on defense and create a lot of problems. So our players are excited.
Gator Bowl here in Jacksonville at the Everbank Stadium, January 2nd. It's 57 degrees at 2 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Stanley Pools Thursday on The Frangie Show. Since 1988, the experts in pools, pavers, screen enclosures, it's Stanley Pools.
I feel freedom. I feel liberty in my life.
Yeah.
I feel some liberty.
Yeah, because of Duran Duran.
Well, because I have the freedom to say I like Duran Duran now. I told you. In the 80s, you couldn't say it. I was a single guy in the 80s.
Yeah, which I get. I was a kid, and we all liked them. But
I mean, you're a single guy.
Seeing it through the lens of a 20-something.
Yeah, you're 28.
Probably be tough to
You're hanging out
admit
with your buddies, knocking back beers.
Hey, did you hear the reflex?
Exactly. You couldn't do it. He said you had to secretly like them. Okay. So I secretly loved the reflex.
Yeah.
And I loved them all. So and Hungry Like the Wind.
Yeah.
So Hungry Like the Wolf.
And now you're free.
There's a freedom.
Yeah.
I feel liberty that I can now tell the world that I really kind of like Duran Duran when all my buddies. Now, if any of my buddies who were around in the 80s who would hang out at the sports bar and drink beer and shoot hoops and all that, they will disown me now. but you know what? I don't care now.
Yeah.
You know why? Freedom.
Right. Absolutely.
There's a freedom and a liberty to that. So there is that.
Well, and you can always go with the charm of the nostalgia of Duran Duran.
Yeah. But I'm
takes us back to a simpler time.
But I'm so secure in who I am. I'm now. That was well said, by the way. I'm now so secure. I'll admit I liked it then. Okay, so there's that. What a weekend in the NFL. You were talking about the other day.
Great lineup.
Really good games.
Yeah, I mean, the Steelers at the Eagles is one that, I think could on most weeks would be the game of the week. That's 10-3 Pittsburgh going to 11-2 Philly. But really, I mean, it's the undercard of the week. I mean, Buffalo 10-3 going to Detroit 12-1.
That's the game.
I mean, that is a monster game. And what's interesting is they're both 4:30 games. So you would think that one of those two surely is a primetime game. It is not. So we'll get done with the Jaguars-Jets game, and then there'll be two just blockbusters going head to head. And even in the other windows, at the 425 window, you have Tampa Bay, who's 7-6, going to the Chargers, who are 8-5. Huge game there. That's a team leading its division in Tampa Bay against a AFC wildcard team right now in the Chargers. And in the same window, you've got the Colts going to the Broncos. The Broncos in the tournament as of now at 8-5. But the Colts are 2 games back at 6-7. It's really only Indianapolis and Miami that I think can make a charge. Maybe Cincinnati, but they'd have to win out to get to 9-8. So it is a phenomenal week of NFL, and that's before you get to Sunday Night Football, and we've got a Monday night doubleheader.
Who do you like in the Buffalo-Detroit game straight up? Detroit because they're at home?
I'm going to take Detroit. Love both teams, but in Buffalo coming off a loss gives me kind of some pause because I think they're so talented. Will they lose 2 games in a row? But it's hard to go against Detroit just because with Buffalo, it's a one-man show. It's Josh Allen, and he's spectacular. But I don't think the surrounding cast around Josh Allen is superior. I think it's okay. It's good, but I don't think it's what Detroit throws at you offensively. I don't know how you stop it. I mean, they've got 2 running backs that are different in their skill sets, but both incredibly effective. Laporta, I think, is a very underrated tight end in this league who's been playing good football over the last month.
He's a really good player.
Yeah, Amon-Ra St. Brown has been quiet for the last few weeks, which only means he's getting ready to probably really go off down the stretch here. He's an unbelievable receiver. Jamison Williams has figured things out, brings so much speed there. they're just fun the way that Ben Johnson runs the offense. You don't never know if they're going to have Penny Sewell, the right tackle, throw a pass or throw him the ball, or if they're going to have, Jamison Williams catch a pass and lateral it to Gibbs. I mean, it's just such a fun attack. So I think Detroit, a very entertaining game, but one in which I think Detroit wins probably something like 45-42.
Yeah, I like them too in the same kind of game. In the AFC, it's interesting. If the seeds hold or if the division leaders hold, Buffalo has got a 4-game lead over the Dolphins with 4 to play.
Yeah, they've won the East.
They're dormy, right?
Yeah.
Correct. Pittsburgh has a 2-game lead over the Ravens with 4 to play. Houston, 2-game lead over the Colts with 4 to play. And then, obviously, the Chiefs have won as well. So let's assume that Buffalo and Kansas City, who have won, Pittsburgh and Houston, let's assume they hold because they both have at least 2 games. They
should hold.
Yeah. And they have 2-game leads with 4 to play.
Yeah.
So assuming that happens, the 8-5 teams, 3 teams are going to get in. Chargers, Broncos, Ravens are all 8-5. Is that it?
That's it. And then there's a 2-game drop.
Right. Does anybody no, that's right. But does anybody catch those teams, or are those the 3?
I think those are the 3. I think Baltimore will be the 5. I think how it lays out now is how it'll finish. I think the Chargers will be the 6, and the Broncos will be the 7. Probably looking at, I would say, 10-7 records there, right. Something like that. Baltimore, I think, will come in at 11 wins. I just don't think it'll be enough. Now you need the Steelers to collapse.
Right.
I don't think, based on how strong they've been through the first 13, I'd be surprised if you look up and Pittsburgh loses 3 of its final 4, which is what the Ravens would need to open the door.
Yeah, I guess so. But you don't expect. I don't sense that anybody's going to jump into that wild card race. Do you?
I don't, because I don't think the Colts are good enough to win out, and I think that's what it's going to take. It's 6-7.
Agreed.
So Anthony Richardson has been playing better of late, but I think that 2-week stretch where he's dreadful is probably coming. It might start Sunday at Mile High against a very talented Denver defense. So yeah, and the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins offensively have figured it out. Tua's been spectacular. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle is more involved over the last few weeks. So offensively, the Dolphins have been great, but they've just dug themselves such a hole that at 6-7, they basically have to win out. I don't think they're tough enough to win out. I don't think they have enough physicality to win out. So I think the Dolphins are the better bet. I'll say they finish right, maybe a game out of the wild card, and then the Colts I think will be kind of where they are now, a couple games out.
Yeah, I'll say this as far as the Ravens are 2 games back of the Steelers. Well, this week, the Ravens play at the Giants.
Correct.
The Steelers play at the Eagles.
Could easily make up a game this week.
So you would think that then they're only 1 game back, and then next week they play each other in Baltimore.
Right.
And so
and Pittsburgh won the first meeting.
Right. Pittsburgh won the first meeting, and Pittsburgh's won like 7 of the last 8, I think, or something like that. But I will tell you, Philadelphia is going to beat the Steelers, and I'm pretty sure the Ravens are going to beat the Giants. So 1 game will separate them. So there's a very good chance that after next week they're tied. I think
could be. And looking at it, Pittsburgh's final 2 games are a home game against Kansas City, followed by a home game against Cincinnati. So,
right.
Well, I mean, again, the Chiefs, they probably will need the game to protect home field. Depends on
Chiefs.
And it's the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And then with Cincinnati, we'll see if they have anything to play for. I think on Cincinnati's side. But yeah, those are. I mean, look, that's a tough 4-game.
Yeah,
stretch.
that division's far from over.
But I mean, I've written off Pittsburgh so many times this season, and all they do is go and win,
and somehow win.
So it's hard for me to. And the thing that I like about Pittsburgh, they can win all sorts of different ways.
That's correct.
They beat the Ravens 18-16. 2 weeks later, they beat Cincinnati 44-38. So it's just they're a lesser version of the Chiefs. But it's like they can kind of pick, or even if they don't get necessarily the chance to dictate the game,
right,
they can still figure out how to get 1 more point than you.
Meanwhile, in the NFC, it's very interesting. The Eagles have the comfortable lead. All right, they've won their division. They're 11-2. The Commanders are next up. They're 3 games back with 4 to play. After that, it gets interesting. The Lions, as good as they are at 12-1, they're only 1 game ahead of the Vikings, okay, who are 11-2. So that one's pretty close. The Bucs are the best team in that division at 7-6, but they're only 1 game ahead of the Falcons because none of those teams are great. And even in the West, the Seahawks are 1 game ahead of the Rams. The big game tonight, Rams and 49ers. But that, I think the NFC, which is really good, by the way, is kind of other than the East, where the Eagles have comfortably won that division. Those divisions are all wide open. I think 1 game separates the North, the South, and the West.
Yeah, as great as Detroit is, you can't slip up because you might look up and you go from the 1 seed to the 5 seed very quickly.
Very quickly.
So, it's a great race at every layer, to your point, whether it's a divisional race, whether it's to get home field, or whether it's just to get in the tournament. The NFC should really be fascinating. And that game tonight, that should be a fantastic game in terms of intensity. And, the Rams and 49ers hate each other.
Right.
And they both absolutely – San Francisco has to have the game. Right. Like, they're 6-7. They have got to win this game to keep any semblance of hope alive in their season. And for the Rams, if they want to catch Seattle, they need this game as well. So this will feel tonight like a playoff game.
There's not a lot of old school rivalries left in the NFL. There's really not. Chiefs and Raiders, Cowboys and now Commanders, there's probably a few others, but there's not a lot. 49ers and Rams is a good one.
Yeah,
that's a legitimate old school rivalry. That really is.
That was one thing I really appreciate about Josh Hines-Allen in the video that Jags Digital sent out after the win is they showed him pregame talking to his teammates to fire them up. And he made the point. He said, this is a rivalry game. They tell us the first day we arrive, we don't like these guys. And we know they don't like us. And again, the Jaguars Titans in the scope of the NFL,
right?
It's not a rivalry anybody pays attention to outside of our markets,
right?
But it was cool to see that.
I thought so too.
That he made that acknowledgement, and then obviously the team came out and played with great defensive intensity and stuck together and got a nice win in Nashville.
All right, we'll take a break. Let's do some headlines after this on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
You could win a weekly tailgate combo pack from Southern Steer Butcher. Wow. Valued at $100. And monthly winners get a Corona tailgate tent with a cooler, chair, and collectible football. It's the ultimate tailgate. Enter at 1010XL.com.
Do the Garber wiggle, Garber wiggle, 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 Garber wiggle.
Garber Auto Mall is home of the lifetime warranty. Every new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Chevy, Buick, GMC, and Ford comes with a lifetime warranty. At Garber Auto Mall, your purchase is covered for life. Visit us in Green Cove Springs or at GarberAutomall.com. And remember, at Garber Auto Mall, there's always a little room for wiggle.
Garber wiggle, Garber wiggle, 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 Garber wiggle.
Are you embarrassed by your ugly, cracked concrete driveway? Need to enhance your home's curb appeal? Stonecore on Phillips Highway is your one-stop shop for all your outdoor needs. Replacing with new stone pavers will transform your driveway into a stunning work of art. Say goodbye to unsightly concrete and hello to beautiful, durable pavers that last for years. Visit Stonecore today and let's beautify your home together. Stonecore.co. We do outdoors better.
Yo, what's happening, fellas? It's your boy E to the T, and I'm gonna keep it real. We could all benefit from a little something extra in the bedroom. Blue Chew can help, and I'm about to tell you how you can get some for free. Blue Chew is an online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in a chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. No doctor visits, no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew ships right to your door in a discreet package. Not even them nosy neighbors gonna know what's going on. Blue Chew's licensed medical providers work with you to find the right ingredients and strength for your prescription. And did I mention the chewable? Just like popping a Mentos. And they're made right here in the good old US of A. Now you're asking, how do I get my Blue Chew? Visit BlueChew.com and make sure to enter promo code 1010XL at checkout. Try it for free and just pay $5 shipping. Turn that oh no into a oh yeah. That's right. Use promo code 1010XL and let your boy hook you up with some Blue Chew. Get your confidence back. Visit BlueChew.com.
Barley and Pie Brewing Company in Fleming Island is excited to announce an all-new happy hour, 7 days a week. You heard right. Every day from 3 until 6 p.m. and again from 9 until close. Barley and Pie has deals you can't resist. 2-for-1 clay lights, 2-for-1 house wines, and much more. Experience the all-new happy hour at Barley and Pie Brewing Company in Fleming Island.
Get more Garnet and Gold on the Seminole Report.
Follow the Seminole Warpath to college football glory.
Brought to you by your local Ag Pro, your home team. Stay close to the Seminoles with the Florida State Seminole Report on 1010XL.
You've probably heard the saying, it's not how hard you get hit, it's whether or not you get back up. Well, I'm attorney Brett Hastings, and I have a saying of my own. If you get hit with a personal injury or wrongful death, hit back and fight to make them pay. At Hastings Injury Law, we have the experience you want if you or a loved one suffer a car or trucking accident or wrongful death. Just call 904-HIT-BACK and we'll help you get up and hit back. Office is Jacksonville.
This is Richard Miller with your Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles Update. Bowman Draft Baseball hobby boxes are out this month with the MLB draft picks in their pro uniforms. 8 of the top 10 picks have cards in Bowman Draft, and former Gator slugger Jack Caglione is a popular player collectors are hoping for. Showtime, Sports Cards, and Collectibles. Update your collection.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. You know, pool design has come a long way, and if your pool is outdated, Stanley Pools specializes in bringing older pools up to date for the whole family to enjoy. That's why I did it a few years ago, and man, I love the way my pool looks now after we added travertine pavers and so much else. Stanley Pools has been serving our community since 1988, so call them today at 269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Rotator cuff injuries are common among athletes and those who have physically demanding careers. Don't let this injury keep you away from the sport you love. Dr. George Bari here, and the first thing you need to do with a serious shoulder injury is to diagnose where the damage is and how significant it is. Rotator cuff tears are either acute tears sustained during an injury or accident, or degenerative tears. If you're interested in learning more about rotator cuff repair and how our expert team of orthopedic surgeons can help you, call Bari Orthopedics today or visit bariorthopedics.com.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Googan Nation, it's Dreamfinders Danny Hicken here to tell you this is no dream. The folks at Dreamfinders Homes right now have an unbeatable interest rate for you. You may not think you can afford a Dreamfinders home. Well, think again. Take advantage of a 2.99% year one rate. I said it, 2.99%. 15 Jacksonville communities to choose from. Find that dream house and take advantage of an unbeatable rate. Move now, literally. Dreamfinders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Gather round. It's Hays' Headlines, presented by Harrell & Harrell. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Hear all about it. Here's Hays Carlyon.
All right, welcome back to the Frangie Show. Frank Frangie is here. RJ Saunders is here, sitting in for JJ LaSelva. So, RJ, be ready. We will be coming to you for some NBA knowledge. I am Hays Carlyon. Thank you to our friends at Harrell & Harrell. Saw my buddy Holt today for lunch. We had a great time catching up. 251-1111, that is who you need to call. Hopefully you won't need them. Hopefully you don't get injured. But if you do and life happens, Harrell & Harrell is who you need to put your trust into. Again, 251-1111. Frank, we're going to start with the Jaguars. It's a 3-10 versus 3-10 game, but my goodness, there's some good matchups in this game. Let's go Brian Thomas Jr. versus Sauce Gardner. What are your expectations there?
Well, if that's how they, both corners are pretty good in New York. But if that's how they play it, if they say Sauce Gardner is going to chase or travel with Brian Thomas Jr., fantastic. Because I think one thing we learned last week is that the Jaguars are better when they target Brian Thomas Jr., and they've got to throw the ball to him. They've got to call plays. The quarterback's got to – Mac Jones has to pick him and choose him. So, no, I think you got to force it some. I think it's going to be a fantastic matchup. I think Sauce Gardner's really good. So I think he's going to shut him down some. Guess what? Brian Thomas Jr. is really good, so he's going to beat him a few times. I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, it really should be a lot of fun. Two players that really are not even at their prime yet.
That's right.
Sauce has been in the league for a few years, but still very young, and obviously Brian is a rookie, so should be a fantastic matchup. Put me down for 9 catches for 191 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Love it. I'm in.
Let's get it to around the NFL. This is an interesting story. We talked about the Eagles playing so great. They've won 9 straight. They're going to win their division, but not all is wonderful in Philadelphia. Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, there's been talk of a beef that A.J. Brown's disappointed and frustrated with his lack of targets. The offense is moving the ball well, but A.J. Brown has sort of been an afterthought in it. Teammates have sort of said, yes, there's an issue, then backtracked. Both players met with the media yesterday and said, no, we're fine as you would expect. But is this something that could derail the Eagles?
Well, what you don't want is that story out there. That story being out there is more important. This is going to sound crazy, Hayes. It's more important than it being true or not true. It's the perception. It's the distraction. That's what they have a really good team. They're physical. They're tough. They've been there before. They played in the big ones, so they know how to do it. So the last thing you want is some of the stuff that's not the stuff to factor into it. So my guess is A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts are both grown-ups. They'll figure that part out. But they've got to be disappointed. Nick Sirianni's got to be disappointed that story made its way out.
Yeah, and it was interesting because that was sort of the theme of some of the players that were asked about it. Is just like, how are we talking about this? Where we've won 9 straight games. We've got a huge game coming up on Sunday.
That's right.
We need to be focusing on the Steelers, not a beef between Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown. But it will really be interesting to see because, look, if Jalen Hurts forces the ball to A.J. Brown, this is the kind of thing the Steelers take full advantage of. Because now you know, if you're Mike Tomlin, Jalen Hurts is probably going to over-target A.J. Brown. And can the Steelers generate a turnover?
Yeah, the Steelers are very well coached. I think the Eagles have a better team than the Steelers. The game's in Philadelphia. There's no George Pickens for the Steelers, who pretty much is their receiving game.
Yes.
So I think it's a hard game for Pittsburgh.
Week 15 starts tonight with the L.A. Rams traveling to San Francisco in a pivotal NFC West game. The Rams are 7-6, 1 game back of the Seahawks, while the 49ers are 6-7. Who do you like tonight?
I'm going to pick the 49ers tonight. They're at home. But it's a really interesting game because this is two really good coaches whose teams, for a myriad of reasons, injuries chief among them for both teams, have kept them either one from getting going. Neither of those two teams have caught a rhythm, which is why they're both around 500. But I'll take the 49ers at home. How about you?
I like the 49ers as well, but I think it's going to be a really entertaining game just because the 49ers have got to have it. Right. So I think that wins out. The Rams would like to have it, but I don't think they have to have it. And so I'll go with San Francisco. But, yeah, if you like watching great offensive design, watch this game tonight because no matter who has the ball, you're going to see some outstanding creative things. Let's get it to college football. Bill Belichick meeting with reporters as we speak as the new North Carolina head coach. Frank, what will be his greatest achievement as the North Carolina head coach if you had to?
I don't know that I believe it's going to work famously, Hayes. So the greatest achievement he could have is you told me a stunning stat tonight that they haven't won the league since 1980. I didn't realize that. But I would say making them relevant. How about double-figure wins? I think he can get there. I don't think he's going to win the league very often. I don't think he's going to be in the playoffs very often. When there's a losing culture, it's hard to change it. But I'll bet he if he sticks around a while, he has some double-digit win seasons. I do think that.
The SEC football schedule is out for next season.
Don't like it at all.
Yeah, let's break it down. The Gators get a bye before a home game versus Texas and before the Georgia game. But it's another tricky conference slate for UF.
There is a federal law. It's actually an international law, and more importantly than all that, it is martial law that Florida and Tennessee play in September.
Yeah.
I don't know who in the world thought, hey, I got an idea. Let's take Florida and Tennessee, who started playing in September, every September in 1990, and it's been the greatest thing we've ever had for 34 years. Let's change it because we're smart. What are we doing? Florida and Tennessee play in September. I don't give a damn what else you're trying to do. Florida and Tennessee play in September, period. The LSU game now is late. I don't really care when the LSU game is. I'm sorry, it's early now. I don't really care. Florida and didn't you feel that way when you saw it?
I was surprised.
Forget all the off dates and everything. Florida and Tennessee play in September.
Yeah, I was surprised by it. I do wonder, to your point, if it's ESPN saying we're going to try and start breaking down some of the CBS SEC traditions that fans have gotten used to because we want to have our own thing.
Makes sense.
So I don't know if that played into it or if it was just totally random.
Yeah.
But
it was totally stupid.
Yeah.
I don't know if random and stupid go hand in hand.
Yeah. And, it's the first time that Florida and LSU will play, I saw in September since 1984.
I remember the game.
Yeah.
It was the right before. By the way, 1984 is the last time they played in September. 1984 is also the last time Florida played Tulane.
Oh, wow.
And Charlie Pell coached both of those games and then was fired after 3 games. Isn't that interesting?
That is.
So that's the but yeah, come on. Florida and Tennessee play. I mean, and that really bothered me. I hadn't got to it yet on the program because we had all the other stuff.
Yeah.
But Florida and Tennessee don't play the one time they did because of 9/11 was a disaster in 2001. Maybe I'm scarred.
Maybe that was not a good day for the Gators at all. Let's stick with Florida and their bowl opponent, Tulane. Tulane quarterback Ty Thompson is going to start against UF in the Gasparilla Bowl and then transfer. Now, keep in mind, he is the backup. He has announced his decision to enter the portal. Tulane already had their regular starting quarterback enter the portal and immediately leave the team. So not only is Tulane down to their backup quarterback, but the backup quarterback who was going to start against Florida will basically take off the uniform and leave campus as soon as they get back from the bowl game.
And the starting quarterback, Mensah, went to the portal and is committed to Duke.
Right.
You got to come play here.
Yeah.
Because the Duke quarterback is also out. So,
yeah.
But, musical chairs. But Florida's a prohibitive favorite. And you never know. I mean, this young Florida team hasn't played with a month off yet. But you would think if they play a clean game, Florida should handle Tulane.
I would think. This is becoming a shame on the Gators if they don't win this game based on what Tulane's dealing with in terms of attrition. West Virginia hires Rich Rodriguez to come back and lead the Mountaineers. Obviously, he had a wonderful tenure there before, a long time ago. But what did you think of that hire?
I think it's a great hire. I think, again, I will applaud West Virginia and North Carolina and some of these schools that are not doing the same old damn thing. Let's go get the really successful coach who's one tier below us, and he'll come to our school and be great. It just doesn't work very often anymore. It just doesn't. If you think about it, it's not working. Let's go get the coach from Bowling Green or Western Michigan or Fresno State because he went 11-1 there, and he'll come here and be good. I know Florida did that with Napier, and it's taken a long time. This is something different. Rich Rod knows where the bodies are buried there. He's been there before. He went there. He's from that area. He's coached there. He's a great hire. And he's still relevant because he did a great job this year with Jacksonville State.
Yeah, without a doubt. I agree. I think it makes a lot of sense. Let's get it to Dan Mullen.
How about that?
Might be ready to jump back in. Apparently UNLV and Dan Mullen awfully close to a deal. Does Dan Mullen take the UNLV job?
Everywhere I read, I think it's done.
Yeah.
I think he's taking the job. The question is, will he succeed? Will he have, he's a good football coach. Nobody debates that. He's a really smart football coach. Will he build enough of a player procurement operation? Whether that's a general manager, whether that's recruiting of high school players, I would think they have to be very active in the portal. Will he build enough of that to have enough good players? I will say this. He's a good coach. Nobody debates that. He lost his energy to recruit at Florida. But part of the reason is at Florida, you're recruiting against Georgia and FSU and Miami and Clemson, Alabama and LSU and Auburn and Tennessee. And there's just so much resistance. If you get it going out west, USC's down. Arizona State's up for now. And I'm not saying he's going to be better than those teams, but there's not the resistance. The UNLV is UCF playing out there. It's the same as UCF. It's just UCF's going to have a heck of a time because they've got all that recruiting resistance around them, and I don't think Vegas does.
I'm glad you brought up Arizona State. Do you think Dillingham sticks?
I think
it's his alma mater.
It's his alma mater. My guess would be no. My guess is he's going to go to – he strikes me as a guy that could be in the NFL. And if not the NFL, I think he could go to a blue blood. But because it's his alma mater, it's going to take something to drag him away. I do believe that. It's going to take – he isn't leaving.
You think Florida State?
I don't know that he would go to Florida State, although he was there. He was their play caller. I think it would be – I think my guess is – I'm guessing here. It would take Alabama, Texas, Oklahoma. I think the blood would have to be that blue for him to leave, in my opinion.
Interesting. Let's get into college basketball. The NCAA tournament could be expanding. Do you like this to 72 or 76 teams?
Yeah, I think they do it great. I'm never going to be one that says, oh, that's too many teams, because the more teams that get the joy of playing in the big dance, the better. It's not going to affect who wins the national title. You're not adding a national champion. You're adding teams that get a chance. By going from 68 to 72, you're adding 4 teams that get the joy of the tournament, the experience of the tournament. There's 13 players on a team, right? So you're adding 52 players who now get to enjoy that. Why not? Why not have 52 more guys get the joy of the big dance? Because there's nothing like it. Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I think it'd be fine as well. And again, if you're one of those bubble teams, it could be of huge consequence to you. Let's get it to the NBA. RJ, will the Miami Heat trade Jimmy Butler?
I've been going back and forth with this one, and I still don't know. According to reports, Jimmy Butler does want to, have an extension with the Miami Heat. I really believe he wants to retire as a member of the Miami Heat. But as of right now, Pat Riley doesn't seem so confident in that happening, or they just haven't really had conversations when it comes to an extension. So it may be in the best interest for Miami to begin looking at potential suitors for Jimmy Butler, because he is a free agent at the end of the year. So that is going to be an interesting dynamic between now and the deadline, because I just don't know of any teams that are saying, yeah, we're a Jimmy Butler away from being a contender. So this is definitely going to be an interesting next couple of months in terms of the future of one Jimmy Butler.
Doesn't one thing factor in the fact that they're decent? I mean, they're a playoff team right now. They're over 500. I mean, RJ, tell me if I'm wrong, but if they were 7-17, they may be more apt to move him than a team that's 12-10 and has playoff aspirations, right?
It seems to me that Jimmy Butler may have said something or did something last season that really ticked off Pat Riley. And, Pat Riley really seems to be the guy that once you start to piss him off, he's going to say things in the media, and then things may begin to change in terms of how favorable you are with one Pat Riley. So maybe there's still some Jimmy Butler's still a bit in the doghouse with me if there haven't been extension talks as of yet. So again, this is just going to be an interesting next couple of months, Frank.
Give us a thought on the Magic. Obviously dealing with a bunch of injuries, but how do you feel like Orlando is navigating that so far?
I really am not worried about the Orlando Magic at all. If you've looked at their last couple of games in terms of having Franz Wagner out, Jalen Suggs has really stepped up to the plate and has really become that number one option for them. He's also becoming that scoring leader for them, in which they need. This is a very deep team. They play very well together. Jamal Mosley really has created this secret formula for this team, and for the NBA on TNT to say that this is the new version of the Oklahoma City Thunder, and we all know how Oklahoma City's doing so far this season and have done for the last couple of seasons, it only means that things are trending up. And if Franz Wagner and Paolo Banchero are able to come back this season at 100%, Hays, watch out. I'd start buying stock early on this Orlando Magic team this season, if not next season, if you have those that want to wait, because they look at a team like the Boston Celtics and also a team like the Cleveland Cavaliers being the two teams we'll see in the Eastern Conference Finals.
I was going to ask you, if Banchero and Wagner both come back healthy and nobody else gets hurt, can they win the NBA title this year?
I don't know if they can win the NBA title. Boston's just that good, but David Aldridge did come out with an article at the beginning of the season and said, do not be surprised if the Boston Celtics have to face the Orlando Magic in the Eastern Conference Finals. Now, that was really derailed once you had the oblique injury to Paolo Banchero. Now you have the oblique injury to Franz Wagner. But watch out. I mean, this team is absolutely one of those teams that Kevin Garnett put it bluntly, you have to go to sleep and make sure that you get your rest when you travel into Orlando. It's not, let's stay up and play cards in the middle of the night because this is going to be a blowout. No, Orlando is a team that you really have to strap up for. So a lot of good things going on. Shout out to Jeff Weltman and Anthony Parker for getting the right pieces there and also sticking to their guns and not going big game hunting during the offseason as many people thought that they would. So a lot of things looking up in Orlando.
Yeah, great stuff. Appreciate that. And we will now move to our pop culture nugget of the day because back in 1992, this week, this happened.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth! Son, we live in a world that has walls, and those walls have to be guarded by men with guns. Who's gonna do it? You? You, Lieutenant Weinberg? I have a greater responsibility than you can possibly fathom. You weep for Santiago and you curse the Marines. You have that luxury. You have the luxury of not knowing what I know, that Santiago's death, while tragic, probably saved lives. And my existence, while grotesque and incomprehensible to you, saves lives. You don't want the truth because deep down in places you don't talk about at parties, you want me on that wall. You need me on that wall. We use words like honor, code, loyalty.
How about that?
Let me tell you what. Number one of my favorite all-time movies. Top 2 or 3 for me. Secondly, one of the great monologues in movie history.
Oh, yeah.
If you ever heard Rob Reiner tell the story, Rob Reiner tells a story that they shot all the scenes separately. So Demi Moore and Kevin, what's his name, watching.
Pollock,
Right, and then Kevin Bacon standing and watching.
Yeah.
They shot them all separately. And so they were going to play a track. Jack says, nah, Rob, I'll do it. And he does that scene 10 times for all the shots. And Reiner says, Jack, you don't have to do it. Rob, I like to act. and he said he nailed it every time.
Yeah.
He said, so what you saw, he nailed it that time, and he nailed it like 10 different times so they could shoot all the shots. Isn't that amazing?
It really is incredible.
I mean, that's an incredible.
I hadn't watched the scene in a number of years.
Yeah, it's just spectacular.
And it is so good. I mean, Nicholson is so... Cruz is as well.
Yeah.
But because the scene goes on much longer than this. It's about an 8-minute clip.
But all his scenes are so good. If you have, let me say this. If you have never seen A Few Good Men, and all of us have one movie that you're not going to believe this, but haven't seen this. We all have that movie.
Sure.
If you have not seen A Few Good Men, cancel whatever else you were doing tonight and go watch it. I mean, A Few Good Men is one of the great, great movies, really, in my lifetime.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's for the way I felt about it, fantastic choice.
Yeah, it is. It's magnificent. We will get you out on our musical note of the day. It's Christmas. We're doing Christmas music today. Chuck Berry's Run, Run, Rudolph, released this week back in 1958. How good is Chuck Berry?
Oh, how good is that? This is fantastic stuff. Well done. Great
Thank you,
headlines
sir.
as always. Back to wrap the program after this.
Gotta make it to town. Santa, make him hurry, tell him he can take the freeway down.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Imagine driving a late model Corvette, BMW, Mercedes, Lexus, Honda, Chevy, Ford, and more, all at a fraction of the original sticker price. Visit Vaughn Motor Group's indoor showroom and browse a great selection of dream cars that are inspected with warranties. Before you make your next auto purchase, check out Vaughn Motor Group on San Jose Boulevard or at vaughnmotorgroup.com for a complete inventory listing. If you can dream it, you can drive it at Vaughn Motor Group.
Hey, sports fans, it's Hays Carlyon for MyBookie. Find your holiday season stride with MyBookie. Take advantage of their live betting, especially if a heavy favorite gets off to a slow start, and check out their cool prop bets. If you haven't signed up, go to mybookie.ag and register for a free account. Use promo code 1010XL to get a double bonus. For a limited time, MyBookie will double your money on your first deposit. Let's take a look at some updated MyBookie lines. The Jaguars are a 3-point home underdog against the Jets. The over-under is 39.5 points. The Texans are a 3-point home favorite versus the Dolphins. The Lions, a 2-point home favorite against the Bills. Sign up with that promo code 1010XL to claim your deposit bonus. Again, it's a double bonus. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. And don't forget that promo code 1010XL.
Make a crucial catch against colon cancer. Hicken here for the Borland Groover Foundation. If you're 45 or older, the ball is in the red zone to get screened. The key to surviving colon cancer, early detection and prevention. 45 is the new 50. Get screened for colon cancer now. The Borland Groover Foundation is a nonprofit organization devoted to building a healthy and equitable community that is free from colon cancer. Visit BorlandGrooverFoundation.com for more.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods. Dandy subs and sandwiches. Look, we always want you to think about those great options as you're driving around Duval. But the beauty is, even as I'm dropping pounds, Dandy's got great options for me as well. Told you all about their protein packs, delicious salads that they have out there. They have fruit cups for on the go. You know what they have. Veggie snack trays. You can grab those on the go as well. Perfect, healthy snack. Dandy is the name to know when you're on the go. So stop into a Gate store anywhere around Duval and make yours a Dandy. And do it today.
Prosser here for Lifetime Flooring. You've heard us rave about Lifetime Enclosures. Now let's talk about Lifetime Flooring. I can tell you firsthand, the product, services, best in Jacksonville. As you know, updating your floors is one of the most dramatic changes you can make to your home. Call the experts at Lifetime Flooring now and ask about their buy one room, get one room free promotion through Christmas. 0% financing, available to meet any budget. Visit their beautiful showroom just off Phillips Highway. And as always, tell them Prosser sent you.
David Garrard could really spin it on the field.
Garrard fires.
Now he's spinning stories on Jaguars Today.
Okay, yeah.
Brought to you by WaterboyJax.com. Mondays, 10 to noon on 1010XL.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Today's contestant, a professional stamp licker from Jacksonville, Florida, meet Martin Celery.
Oh, gosh. I can't wait to play, Bob.
Well, let's move things along. Tell him what he's won, Johnny.
Wait, but
That's right, Marty. At Bueller Air and Plumbing, we've stocked up on the remaining inventory of low-cost 2024 model air conditioners. So you win. We're passing the savings on to you.
Can I answer a question first?
We need to make room for the 25s, so we're offering great deals on AC replacements while supplies last.
Could I spin the wheel at least? I've been practicing for a year.
With last-minute deals like this, there's no question that you are cool.
What do I tell my kids?
There you go. Have a souvenir t-shirt.
Thanks.
Stay cooler with Bueller. Visit BuellerAir.com.
Mia here. Since 1982, Closets by Design has specialized in creating dream spaces for every budget. My designer, Frances, made the process so easy. She came to my house and designed a walk-in closet that's not only beautiful, but incredibly functional for me and Beau Valentine. Call today to schedule your free in-home consultation at 800-293-3744 or visit closetsbydesign.com. And be sure to check out their end-of-year sale, including 18-month special financing. Closets by Design.
When it comes to towing products, your safety on the road is the priority at Cannons of Jacksonville. Whether it's a heavy-duty tow hitch, trailer frame, wiring, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons has decades of experience to ensure your towing setup is installed with precision and reliability. Visit cannonsofjacks.com to explore a range of products and schedule your installation. Cannons of Jacksonville, your trusted partner for a smoother tow.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Jaguars tight end Evan Ingram on matching up against the New York Jets defense.
Honestly, their whole defense just plays really well together. They play violent. They run to the football. They're physical. I mean, they're athletic all over the field. Honestly, they cause problems everywhere. So we're gonna have to come prepared to be physical, to be explosive, and to have great finish all game to be successful against them.
Jags fans, the JTA Game Day Express is back. Let them do the driving to the Jags-Jets game with passes starting at just $10 on the MyJTA app. More information at jtafla.com. With your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update, I'm Andrew Gibson.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Stanley Pools Thursday on The Frangie Show. Since 1988, the experts in pools, pavers, screen enclosures, it's Stanley Pools.
I got a question for you. Very, very important question. Do you know who Ashley Greene, the actress from Jacksonville, is?
I do not.
She was in the Twilight movies.
Okay, I never saw Twilight.
You struck me as a Twilight guy.
Really?
No.
That's disappointing. No, I never saw it.
Oh, anyway, so she's from Jacksonville. It's a big deal that she's like in all these.
Ashley Greene.
Yeah, from Jacksonville. You never heard of Ashley Greene?
Well, no, but maybe I'll look up like what else she's been in.
Yeah. She's from Jacksonville, and I'm surprised you don't know who that is.
I mean, she's, and obviously I can tell incredibly talented.
Yeah, she's very talented. And but she's in Twilight movies. It was kind of a big deal that a Jacksonville person was in the Twilight movies. So I thought it was big. Anyway, so I'm pointing that out. That's not new news. Those were years ago, as you know.
I see also here she was in a movie called Deck the Walls, which I would assume is
where I was going.
was seen at the Frangie household.
You kind of know where I was going. I said Ashley Greene from Jacksonville in the Twilight movies has made an appearance on Hallmark.
How about that?
In the Frangie household?
She's a big star.
Oh, my God, that's big news. I mean, look, I'm dropping big news on you there. So she's in it with a guy named Wes Brown, who, by the way, is in every Hallmark movie. Okay. It's hard to have one guy that's in every one.
Yeah.
He's in every one. So there you go. Again, that was free of charge.
I appreciate it. I always learn something.
We do indeed. Thomas Castellanos going to Florida State. I think it's a cool story. He's a then when he beat him, and he really took it to him. They couldn't tackle him.
Mm-hmm.
A physical running quarterback, but a pretty good player. Interesting. Lost his job at BC. Kind of got sort of benched, but couldn't wait to get back to the portal. And I think Mike Norvell struck quickly. I think he'll be good for them.
He'll have some moments where he'll be phenomenal. I mean, there's a little really Jordan Travis to his game, and so I'm sure as Mike Norvell looks at it and looks at the decline in the program this year, how do we find that next Jordan Travis, who is a player that can provide that off schedule escapism. And create something for us, and this is the guy that can do that. It's just, can he play at the level consistently that Jordan Travis was able to play? Can he give you the passing? Because Jordan Travis, really, I mean, he was sensational, in terms of the throw, the accuracy and the anticipation that he had. Good arm for the collegiate level. That will be the X factor on whether this is a great move or a forgettable one. And obviously you got to worry about Castellanos' health because he's a little guy.
5'11".
Yeah, and so he's really probably 5'9".
Yeah, that's right.
And so obviously you'll worry about the contact that he takes. But yeah, I mean, if he's healthy, he starts a game, he finishes a game, he's absolutely a candidate for 180 yards through the air and 90 on the ground and 2 or 3, 4 touchdowns.
I'll say this about Florida State and Norvell. They had just a horrendous year, an embarrassingly bad year that, FSU people couldn't believe it got that bad. If you think about it, honest to God, given where their program was, you could call it the worst season in the school's history. Now, in 73, 74, they had an 0-10 season, but they weren't what they were. They weren't what they had become. And so with the resources and the blue blood nature, certainly a new blue blood, if you will, a new blood, Hays, it was the worst season they've ever had, but I'll give them credit. They weren't firing Norvell in large part because of the buyout. He whacked his staff. He went out immediately and was very decisive and went and found Gus Malzahn, went and found Tony White, went and found Herb Hand, went and found coaches he wanted. He did it very quickly. He went and got the quarterback he wanted in the portal that'll fit that offense, a physical running quarterback. He flipped one of the best running backs in the nation in recruiting. Look, I'm not saying it's all going to work. Who knows if it is? But I made this comment about Napier at midseason, how give him credit, he flipped things. I don't know what FSU is going to be like next year, but they didn't sit on their hands. I think the moves they made are very noticeable. Whether they're good or not, I'm not smart enough to know. We'll see. But they're very noticeable and very aggressive, and he was very authoritative in all these, and I'll compliment him for that.
Yeah, I think that I would have held on to Kromenhoek. That would have been my starter. And then if I was FSU, I would have looked into the portal to get just some depth pieces, some veteran guys that could fill out the room. But I would have gone with Kromenhoek. I think he showed enough. Obviously, you also have him for the year after, so you could really build something with him. So I think ultimately this was a mistake, but Castellanos he's going to be far better than Uiagalelei.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. Who, by the way, said he's coming back for 6 years. Do you see that? DJ's going to play college football again. But back to Castellanos. I'll say this. If Mike Norvell had a lifetime contract, Luke Kromenhoek's your guy because he's going to be an NFL quarterback. But if you have a 1-year contract, which in my mind is kind of what Norvell has, even though it's 8 or 9 years because of the extension, it's really not. You know how coaches are. And, they're probably not firing him next year because of the $50 million buyout. I'm just telling you, you got to win next year. And I think he's a better chance to do that. Folks, that's our program. Thanks for being part of it. Don't go anywhere, though. Jaguar programming is up next. Jaguars Happy Hour, including the Doug Peterson Show, comes up right now. We're out of here. Have a great night, everybody. For RJ, nice job filling in. And for Hays Carlyon, I'm Frank Frangie. So long.